This young man looks to be about 15, 20 years younger than me, so let's go ahead and catch him up on the history of how we got here.
American Republicans are inherently anti the United States and anti-patriotism because all of their viewpoints entirely contradict the original Bill of Rights.
Okay, so first things first, the right, MAGA, whatever, Save America is inherently a nationalist movement. That's part of the reason you guys are so mad. And your side that is embracing all of these illegal immigrants and saying that we should just give and give everything that we have to the rest of the world, you're internationalists. Do you see how what you're saying doesn't make sense?
They don't like the First Amendment because Antifa can freely assemble and freely speak.
I'm sorry, young man, but are you unaware of the Biden administration pressuring social media organizations to silence dissenting voices during the, that situation that happened a few years back where we all had to stay inside and they tried to make us take shots that they had never tested? Do you remember that? Or were you too young to be paying attention to the news like that? And if all Antifa did was piss and moan and use their words like, they're supposed to, like the First Amendment protects, then I wouldn't like them still, I'm sure, but I wouldn't be calling for them to be arrested. However, when they start burning down cities, assaulting people, planning attacks and things like that, yes, I'm sorry, you are at this point a terrorist organization and your ass needs to go to jail.
They don't like the Second Amendment because they can arm themselves against an overly violent governmental force.
Well, that's an interesting assertion considering Republicans are twice as likely to own firearms as Democrats here in the United States. It's also an interesting assertion considering literally the video TikTok you made immediately preceding this one. You said this.
Guns are the Republican equivalent of Funko Pops and Labubu. They treat them as toys, bragging rights on social media, and proof that they spent a bunch of money on their favorite hobby. All of them are just 12-year-olds going, yeah, it's cool when I do it, but when you do it, it's kind of lame, actually.
But on top of that, let's just run through a quick little list. Illinois, where I'm at today, FOID card, like the only state in the union that requires a license just to purchase and own a firearm. We've also got an assault weapons ban. They are currently proposing a bill that would require every single piece of ammunition in the state to have a serial number, an identifiable individual serial number. They're essentially trying to regulate ammunition out of the state because no company is going to do that. Well, let's see what Virginia just passed an assault weapons ban. New Jersey, I believe, has an assault weapons ban. California essentially has an assault weapons ban. Washington is currently trying to outlaw 3D printed firearms. What is all that? What do all those states have in common? Oh, they're democratically ran. Actually, I guess ran by Democrats would be a better way of saying it, but you get what I mean.
They don't like the Third Amendment because that Hilton hotel manager said no ICE agents are allowed to stay on this private property. That's third, baby. That hasn't fucking ever been used until now.
Right. Is anybody calling for the owner or the employees of that Hilton to be arrested for that? No. Saying that you don't like the Third Amendment, disagree with the Third Amendment because you don't like the way somebody implemented that right, that's like saying that you don't like the First Amendment because you disagree with somebody's opinion. You can not like how somebody exercises their rights without hating the right fundamentally.
The Fourth Amendment, right? They support when ICE agents do unlawful, without warrant searches and seizures on people's property. They don't like the Fourth Amendment.
Again, that's an interesting assertion considering Kamala Harris, the lady that you guys put up for the presidency last election cycle, has consistently suggested that the state should have right to enter one's home in violation of the Fourth Amendment in order to check on their gun storage situation. What are you talking about, dude?
The Fifth, Sixth, and Seventh Amendment are all law and court system and due process and stuff. They don't support due process because they love it when ICE agents go to immigration hearings, lawful immigration hearings, and take people while they're waiting to go into court.
Yeah, it was Obama, again, that signed the National Defense Authorization Act, which empowers the United States government to hold citizens without trial. So try again, bud. But hey, who cares about U.S. citizens being held without trial when we've got illegal immigrants to worry about, right?
They don't like the Eighth Amendment. Well, they don't care about the Eighth Amendment because that's against cruel and unusual punishment. They don't care that people get raped and killed in ICE detention centers. They don't care about the Eighth Amendment.
Oh my God, illegal immigrant deaths under government detention is under Trump is on par with Obama. So again, you're not pulling ahead yet.
They don't care about the 10th Amendment because that says states don't have to listen to Donald Trump. That's all that is.
I'm sorry, do you not remember the left losing its collective mind when Trump returned abortion law power back to the states under the 10th Amendment? Because you've been saying since then that Trump's taking away women's rights, even though he just returned power back to the states under the 10th Amendment. And on top of that, I don't know, we could talk about how Obama used enforcement more than any other president against state-operated medical marijuana proprietors and users. We could look at how Biden tried to use federal power to enforce pandemic restrictions in states. God, we could look at how under Trump, back to the cannabis, how, well, full recreational legalization has been allowed to flourish across the country. Granted, it has not been legalized federally. It does not seem that the federal government is in any way interfering with these states that have passed these laws. So I'm sorry, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Now, the 9th Amendment, I saved that for last. The 9th Amendment states that rights not listed are still people's rights. So even if they came up with a rebuttal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, it doesn't matter because something not being written doesn't mean it's not your right.
He actually saved the 9th for the last because both parties pretty consistently try to ignore it.
And that's why people should stop trying to dunk on these fucking Gestapo freaks and their supporters by saying that's against the law. They don't care about the law. They are anti the entire foundation of this country. They don't deserve argument.
Him saying that they deserve no argument is just him copping out because he knows he can't argue with the facts that I stated because they are verifiable facts. The most gun-restrictive states in the union are, in fact, democratically ran. Kamala Harris, in fact, has said repeatedly she wants to enter people's homes in violation of the 4th Amendment to check on their gun storage. Biden did, in fact, pressure social media to silence dissent. These are facts. These are verifiable facts that we know for a fact. A fact. Inarguable. Happened. But, you know, part of the reason I have ended up where I am on the political spectrum, or at least in this moment in time, is the fact that I have for the last 10 years repeatedly told lefty, liberal, progressive, Democrat after Democrat after Democrat, lefty, liberal, progressive, that if they keep on doing these things, if they keep on opening up these doors, it will be like Pandora's box, and the power that they exert will eventually be turned back upon them. And now that it has, they want to act like Trump initiated these things. It wasn't Trump. It wasn't Republicans. It's Democrats that have been consistently violating our rights, going against the spirit of the Constitution and the American people. Not Republicans. And now, finally, reasonable people, I would say, in America have had enough. And now they are exerting government force against you as you have exerted it against them. And now you cry victim.